Welcome to another episode. I'm your host, Evantz Saint-Gerard, and I know that you have questions about real estate. There's all kinds of stuff going on, whether it's buying or selling. But one thing that you need to know about is title insurance and why it's important. And I have one of the best here, Cesar Garcia, who's going to explain to you some of the top questions that I have from my clients that are asking that you might have those same questions that you want answered also. Cesar, how you doing?
Pretty well. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, I'm going to be very candid with the audience right now. This is take two because the last time I didn't hit the record button, so keeping it real with my people. I'm a Brooklyn guy, and I'm using my hands a lot and talk real.
There you go.
So Cesar, tell them how long you've been in the business.
I'm going on my 23rd year.
You originally started as a real estate agent, and what made you transfer from that to title?
Because as a real estate broker, they made real estate and title insurance too much of a mystery. And I wanted to start educating. I've been a big educator, with my clients, and I wanted to start educating brokers alike as to what title insurance is, because without title insurance, it's almost impossible to close.
I'm glad you said that. That's one of the many questions that we have that we're going to be discussing. It seems like you have superpowers when it comes to, the real estate industry. So my question to you for title companies, what's their superpower when it comes to helping sellers and buyers close smoothly?
Well, I just want to address one factor. Title insurance is pretty much a buyer necessity. And the reason why is that is because we need to, they're about to buy the property and the owner conveys the property to the buyer. It needs to be free and clear of any encumbrances or any issues. By me saying that, we need to tackle the issues that a seller might have, right? And some of those issues could be, open permits, it could be encroachments, and it could be numerous things. And by doing a preliminary title search, it will help us identify possible issues. And the reason why we're doing that is because right now in today's market, everything has become much more difficult to do. The properties that are actually selling are a little hairy, right? So we need to identify issues so we can have a smoother closing. And that's the whole point. Try to have a smooth transaction.
All right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. What's some things that sellers might not expect, but that they could do if by you telling them that can help them avoid some stuff for them to avoid, basically, so they can have a smooth transaction?
So I mentioned a preliminary title report. You can have that, or you can order a FOIL test. It's free. The city gives you that. But it does take time, and, it could take 1 or 2 weeks. So if you're definitely on the brink of trying to sell, I would definitely say order this in advance. And once you do, ask Evan or myself to help you read through the report so you can know what the issues are on your home, if you have any. Now, I'm not hoping you do, but if you do have any, we can help identify those and find a solution for you.
You won't know until you ask the question. All right. So besides the FOIL test, what are other things that sellers can do to get ahead of any title issues before they even list the house? You mentioned preliminary.
So when you find the preliminary report, the biggest, and I know Evan said the biggest superpower we got is experience. As a title company, we handle numerous transactions, anywhere between 30, 40, maybe 50 transactions, depending on the month. If it's hot selling season, maybe a little bit more. But it comes down to experience. If we see things and we can help, identify those issues, we might have a solution for you already because we've already seen it. That's how you get ahead of things like that. You can also, and the funny thing is here that, owners don't, believe me until it happens to them, is parking violation bureau tickets. And you may be asking why, and it's because we might have kids, you might be frustrated, you might be having a bad day, there's red light cameras everywhere, there's speeding cameras everywhere in the city. So, and if you live in a home, you're parking your car inside the garage, or you're parking inside a driveway where there's no access to that parking meter man or, whoever boots you. So you're getting tickets in the mail. And if you have kids or teenagers, they're beating you to the mail and hiding those tickets from you because they don't want to get in trouble. And
can I talk to the parents right now? All right, parents, come close, okay. We all were teenagers at one point, and we all did the same thing with our report cards and also those tickets. We get them basically from our parents, and now as parents, this is our come up, and our kids are most likely doing this if they haven't done them already. And what Cesar's saying is true. You might want to do exactly what Cesar's telling you to do. Do a search to make sure that your kids are being honest with you, and make sure you don't have some issues. That's the I don't got anything else to say besides that.
They could check also the Department of Finance. It'd be good practice to check once a month, your license plate number to make sure you don't have any hidden tickets.
All right, is that just the kids? I don't want to blame the kids for this also. You might have a spouse, maybe a cousin.
That's
aunt,
true.
Uncle, the family members, basically, sometimes, they get tempted. All right, Cesar, are there any new recent title laws or updates that sellers need to know about right now?
Well, there's no real title laws that affect the owner at the moment. It's pretty much the buyer. There's new, endorsement fees. The actual fees have actually gone up for some of the title fees. The one thing I can tell homeowners for a fact is to try to get their title policy. If there's anything you can, get from this conversation is that the title policy is like kryptonite, for issues. If there was an issue that you had before and it was listed and cured by the other title company, it would be listed on your new title policy. And that's your insurance. Remember that's your insurance. So when you were a buyer back then, they are probably doing the exact same process that they're going to do now, do the research. And the best way and an analogy that I can give you is like when you go to the doctor for your yearly physical, they run a blood test. They won't know what's going on with you unless they run a blood test. And that's what title insurance is. We run the test to make sure there's nothing out of the ordinary with your property.
So I always tell my buyers when they purchase, keep everything, scan everything, keep a digital copy of everything, and put it in your computer, put it in your cloud, put it in your phone, put it somewhere safe, put it on a little zip drive. I said zip drive, yes, I'm that old. You put it in whatever device that you need to put it in, but basically not just keep paper copies anymore, but basically keep everything digital. You never know when you're going to need it in the future.
Evan, a USB key.
Yeah, that too. But I'm going further. I'm going further back. I'm talking about. I'm going to say, all right, floppy disk. Put it on your floppy disk.
Floppy disk.
So the kids basically like, what's a floppy disk? Look, my people know what I'm talking about. Right? All right. So for the sellers, what's the biggest benefit? Well, sellers and buyers, what's the biggest benefit to having title insurance and working with a reputable company?
The biggest benefit is that you're working with a company that's been and it has high experience. We have a team in the back, in my office, the back office, that total together they have close to maybe 80 years title insurance experience. They came from the big underwriters, companies like us. Some of the questions you may want to ask them is, who are your underwriters? We have all the top 5, like Chicago. We have Stewart. We got Amtrust Financial, things of that nature. So those are the companies that actually give you the title policy. When you look at the policy, it says Chicago or it says First American. It doesn't say Nest Abstract, but Nest Abstract just the only time it shows up is because we're the ones who issued it and we ran the abstract for you. So I would definitely take a hard look and ask, those criteria of any title company you have. And remember, you as a buyer have the right to choose, just like you chose everyone else on your team. Your loan officer, your attorney, your broker, your home inspector, they're all part of your team. Just think of me as another person that you need on your team to make sure you have a smooth closing.
Well, you know what? I don't have any other questions besides how can people reach you if they want to have any questions?
You can find me. You can Google me, Cesar Garcia on Google, Nest Abstract. If you forget my number, but my number is 646-236-3723. And my email address is Cesar, CESAR, at nestabstract.com. And I'm always available.
And what languages do you and your office speak?
We speak a couple of languages. We have Urdu in our one of our repertoire, Spanish, of course, English, and of course, the most famous one of all, Brooklynese.
I love it. I love it. If anybody knows anything about me, I'm from Brooklyn originally, so sometimes I do speak with not sometimes, I speak with my hands a lot.
Yeah.
But look, it is what it is. Like Cesar said, you have to work with somebody that makes you feel comfortable and makes you feel confident about the process, whether you're buying, you're selling, or you're doing both at the same time. You want to make sure you're working with the right professional. And like Cesar said again, you have the right to choose who you want to work with and have those conversations, those tough conversations. That's all we do is all day long. This is all we do is basically answer a question for our clients. So feel free to reach out to them. To reach out to me, it's very easy. My cell phone is usually always with me. My number is 917-975-5985. I am from Brooklyn, like I said many times, and I do talk too fast, so I'll try to slow it down. 917-975-5985. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Stop looking at me, please. I'm not dancing on TikTok. And then YouTube, Instagram. I'm on pretty much you looking me up, basically my full name or Evantz Sells Home. Basically, that's how the easiest way you can find me.
You got so
I hope
many,
you guys have. Go ahead.
you got so many of those social media things.
Look, you have to be everywhere, basically, because you never know where people are at in their journey, and that's how they're gonna find you.
That's true.
I still have a MySpace account. Don't ask questions. Don't look me up on MySpace, please don't. Anyway, with that being said, we hope you got some education. We hope you got entertained. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out to either me regarding real estate portion or for the title questions. Feel free to reach out to Cesar. Cesar, you got the last word.
Yeah, the last thing I want to mention to everybody is that real estate is very dynamic. You know, it is no deal is the same. So whatever you heard, take it with a grain of salt. Just like there's no person like you out there, there's no person like me. You know, we're all very different, and every deal has its issues. Every deal is very dynamic once again, and we're here to help guide you, make it as smooth as possible. Because at the end of the day, we want you to walk away feeling happy and sending us those referrals.